Ready?
Yeah, is that already recorded?
Yeah!
Oh! We have to start.
Oh my gosh!
Well, hi! Welcome.
Hi! Guys, we've been vlogging for 1 year. Isn't that weird?
It's our vlog-iversary!
We started 1 year ago because we used to have adventures. And I said every day in the month of December is an adventure.
Well, because my mom always does a countdown where every day there's an activity to count down to Christmas. So Derek said, let's film every day.
Daily December is what we called it.
And then January was coming and he said to me, I think I want to keep filming every day. And I said, okay.
What were your initial thoughts about filming every day?
I was not sure. I was not sure I wanted to do that.
We're putting our lives on the internet.
Yeah, I'm a pretty private person. And so it was, when you said you wanted to do it every day, I wanted to support you, but I was a little bit like,
But also, I wanted to do it because home videos of mine and my family's, those are the best. And I love watching those. And we have so many inside family jokes from home videos when I was just like a little kid that I find funny. And so I wanted to continue having those.
And I've really grown into it. And it's one of those things that I'm a really private person, and yes, we're filming our lives every day, but a day is 24 hours, and I'm pretty sure our longest video was maybe 20 minutes.
Correct.
So like, I only film when I want to.
Correct.
And so it's not that big a deal. And Derek actually always tells me all the time, I wish we'd started sooner.
Because there were things that happened a year ago, especially when finding out that we were pregnant with twins in like, what, September or something?
Yeah, we found out we were pregnant in October.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we would have found out in like December?
So we found out that we were having twins in November.
November.
And we don't have that on film. We didn't film that.
We don't have that. Those are memories that are just here.
We didn't film when I told him I was pregnant or any of that.
And so here we are, 1 year later. Now, our numbers are off. No one knows how.
We must have missed a couple days because technically the video we filmed today, which should have been 365, is 363. So we've missed 2 days somewhere.
Somewhere. Oh well. There was a lot that happened this year. Can you blame us?
And we know for sure one of those was that live Sunday we missed a couple weeks ago.
Correct.
But there's another day floating around somewhere.
I think it's in the days of the NICU. That's what I think.
Probably. It was probably the last day we weren't doing, when we started doing daily filming again, I bet, because we filmed that day and probably didn't do a live video that day.
Probably.
Anyway,
it's
been a year.
So what we did was we asked you guys to give us questions. We said, ask us anything, and we will answer them for you for our 1 year videoversary. So here we are. Liesl typed them up, and we're going to answer the questions.
Well, we asked them in 3 different places.
You're right.
So I figured we better have them all in one place.
You're right. And we don't have who's asked which question, but we will answer all of them.
Which some of them we got asked more than once, but I only have them on here once.
So, if it's your question, congratulations. Let us know in the comments below. Hey, you answered my question!
Okay, ready?
Yep.
First question is, can you see any personality development in the girls yet?
Yes. Oh, we're supposed to expound?
Elaborate.
Oh, I see. I see more, I don't want to call it like playfulness, but Ella is one to smile faster.
She does.
She gets like giddy and happy super quick, where Dallas kind of takes a little bit more like prodding.
She's kind of goofy in that way.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of a little bit, she's really goofy and kind of silly, and
yeah.
Dallas can be too, but she has to warm up to a situation. Mm-hmm. I can also kind of see them as they develop socially, that it's a little bit the opposite. Mm-hmm. Where Dallas can kind of jump into a situation and be okay, whereas Ella has to take some time to adjust to a situation when there's lots of people. Mm-hmm. A little bit like her mom.
Yep.
So yeah, we're starting to see little things like that, and it's interesting to see as they develop things like Dallas is a little bit more interested in things. Mm-hmm. She wants to grab things and touch things, whereas Ella's a little bit more interested in just moving and playing with her own toes. They both want to put everything in their toes.
in their toes.
In their mouths. I think I may have locked the little one in the sewing room.
Oh no! The cat. Here I am, left alone. He's out now.
I forgot he was sleeping under my desk.
Here he is.
He's safe now.
Alright, moving on. What is your happiest memory so far with the girls? Or what is something you will tell them tell them about when they get older?
I mean, when they were born was pretty happy.
Yeah, that is.
Bringing them home from the NICU was really happy.
Yeah, I can't really pinpoint one moment where I'm like, oh, this is the happiest day of my life.
True. I just love when they wake up in the morning or they wake up from a nap and they're crying in their cribs. And when I get up there, I usually go in and I say, excuse me. And they both just stop and look at me. And I just love that recognition after they haven't seen me for a while. And how
Mommy's
happy
here.
They get to see me. And they just laugh and grin. And I'm like, oh, you make me feel so good.
Yeah. I will tell them when they are older that they used to cry, but it sounded like they were saying hey.
Yeah, that's true.
So we count their first word as hey.
Hey! Even now, their baby talk half the time sounds like they're saying hey or hi. So hey was their first word.
Hey!
Do you want any more kids? How many? What genders? Do you have names?
Whoa, so many questions there.
Start with, do we want more kids?
Yes.
Yes, we do. How many more?
2 to 3.
2 or 3.
It'd be great if we had another set of
We're going to
twins.
start with 2 and see where that goes.
Yep.
Genders.
Boys.
We would love some boys, but we love girls too. So.
Love girls.
Names.
Boys. Calvin.
Oliver.
Oliver.
Girls. Princess names.
Princess names.
Derek has agreed to let me give all the girls princess names.
I will allow her to give our children princess names. Ariel. Not Ariel.
I told him we need to name one of them Lena for Thumbelina, so that Dallas isn't the only one with a non-Disney princess. Because Odette's not Disney.
But then we would have someone with only Disney princess.
Well, if we have 2 more girls.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But I just don't. Yeah, it will depend. I don't know. I just don't want to have like all girls and they're all Disney except for Dallas.
True. What is the thing you look forward to the most about the girls getting older? And what is the thing you are least looking forward to as they get older? Boys.
I'm thinking like so much more short term than that. Because I was like, when they start to be mobile, and I have to somehow keep an eye on both of them, I'm going to be running around this house. I'm going to need to like get them in.
True. But something I look forward to is them talking and me being able to have a conversation with my children.
I'm excited for when they get to the point that they will like run to me. And
I'd be so happy and excited and just
and can,
love,
like, show their affection.
cuddle.
I'm excited for that.
That's gonna be a good time.
And like when they're older and we can stay home and like do things together instead of me just being like, here, roll around on the floor all day long. Like we can do crafts together.
I can't
cook
wait for
together,
them. I can't wait for them to think that we are the best human beings that they've ever known.
I want to just dress them up all the time.
All the days. Next.
When are each of your birthdays?
January.
Am I gonna give them a day?
January 17th.
I'm July 19th. The girls are April 19th.
So many 19s. How fun. We had their birthday scheduled for the 18th,
So that
though.
would be 17, 18, 19. And I went into labor on the 18th.
Correct.
They did not come until
They didn't come on the 18th. It's fine. What? Expectations versus reality when it comes to having baby twins the first months and how it's changed your relationship. So expectations for having baby twins the first months. I think my expectations was that we were never going to sleep. We were going to be up and just exhausted all the time. And that babies would be like screaming, crying, just like, and we were feeding.
I think I expected it to be a lot harder than it was.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and it's different because they were in the NICU for the first month. And that was hard in a different way. But even after we brought them home, it was different than what I was expecting because they literally just like slept all the time.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really have to do anything except when they were hungry. And so it was actually a lot easier than I had expected.
Yeah, they're such easy children.
They're
the easiest babies.
Easy babies.
And everyone always commends us on like, oh, you're great parents. You are doing this really hard thing, and we're like,
and we don't
that bad.
We don't know any different. You know, it might have been harder if we'd had a single baby first.
True.
But our girls are just so easy, and it's funny because every time somebody watches them, afterwards they're always like, oh, they were so good, they're so easy, they're the best. And I'm like, yeah. Even people who watch them more than once, my mom, every time, she like is like so surprised. They were the best, they're just so good. And because they cry when they're hungry and they cry when they're tired, but as soon as you know, get them what they want, they're fine.
Yeah.
They don't cry for no reason. They don't throw fits, or I mean, they're just really good babies.
They are the best babies. Next.
How has it changed our relationship?
How has it changed our relationship?
I think that we've had to really learn each other's like parental groove, I guess. You know what I mean?
Basically what she's saying is that I'm a very relaxed parent when she's very high stress parent.
We've had, yeah. I'm high stress, not like high strung in this. You know what I mean?
She will never let our children just cry.
Yeah, like.
But I don't think any mother does.
No.
So, where I'm okay to just like let them fuss it out for a minute.
I guess it's not that I'm like a high strung mother. I'm just a very like oh. Like I hear my baby and I'm like, yeah. I'm a little bit of a helicopter mom.
Do not be a smotherer.
Sorry.
It's okay, I forgive you.
But we've had to learn to kind of meet in the middle. And there are times that I look at him and I say, I have to let them cry it out, don't I? And he says, yes.
Yes. Especially when we know they're so tired and they're just screaming in their cribs. Eventually they will go to sleep.
They always do. Mm-hmm. So we've had to learn to really work together to achieve the common goal. Mm-hmm. Which is, I mean, you know, we've always had to work together, but it's different working together as parents than just working together as spouses. Mm-hmm. I think that's one thing that's really changed.
I agree. Next!
How do you tell the girls apart?
They look completely different to me.
They do look different to us.
I look at them and I know who I'm looking at.
Part of it is that they have different head shapes, so their face shapes are developing differently. Mm-hmm. Ella has more of a rounder head, and so she actually has like a larger forehead, whereas Dallas has a narrower head, and her forehead's a little shorter, and her face is a little thinner and longer. Not really thinner, because she's got those chubby cheeks.
She's got chubby cheeks.
It's a little bit longer, whereas Ella's is more.
This is Dallas. This is Ella.
Yeah. Ella's more of a rounder shape. Plus, what most people use to tell them apart is Ella has a birthmark between her eyes that is very prominent. And then if you're like around them, it's not so easy in the videos, but Dallas has a little red mark on top of her head. And those are kind of the bigger indicators that people look for in person. Mm-hmm. Ella also has more hair right now.
Ella does have more hair. In the little mohawk area.
The little mohawk area.
Yep. Next, what would the girls' names have been if they were boys? We already said this, but Calvin and Oliver.
We had decided on Calvin Peter and Oliver.
And Oliver something.
We hadn't decided on a middle name for Oliver when we found out it was girls. So we would like to eventually use those names for boys. So
yeah,
they're still on the list.
Love it.
How long do you want to have between the twins and a possible third child? Right now we're thinking about 3 years. If there had just been one baby, we'd kind of said like 2 years. But since we got 2 in one go, we thought give ourselves the extra year. But I mean, that could always change. But right now, probably about 3.
And let's face it, a baby will come when a baby comes.
It's true.
So. Next, have you ever gotten fired? Tired. You ever gotten fired? The answer is no, by the way.
I have not.
Have you ever gotten tired of filming your life? And what kept you going on the bad days?
I can tell you right now, this was Tucker's question.
Tucker!
Because then he said, because I got tired of it after 2 weeks.
Shout out to Tucker Porter. He started filming his life because we inspired him. So good job, Tucker. You got sick of it after 2 weeks. For me, it's the family memories that keeps me going. That if there are moments that I don't want to miss out on, I will pick out a phone, pick out a camera, and just go. And that's what keeps me going.
For me, family memories is a big thing. I want the girls to be able to look back and see these things. But also, I have a lot of family that doesn't live close to us. My mom is from New Zealand, so all of my cousins, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, they still live in New Zealand. And so this is a way for them to be able to be a part of my children's life and to see them grow, even though they can't be here all the time. And my brother lives in Texas, and so we see him a lot more than we see my New Zealand family, but it's still not as often as if he lived in the state. And so he and my sister-in-law and my nephews are able to watch these and be a part of the girls growing up. And even the rest of my family, I mean, we moved 2 hours away, so yes, we see them, every couple weeks, but it's still a way for them to be able to keep up with what's going on and be involved in the girls' lives and to not just have to hear about it from a text, they can see it happening. And so I want them to be able to feel like they're a part of the girls' lives, and so that's what keeps me going. As far as getting tired of filming our lives, we did take that break while the girls were in the NICU, and I don't think that we were necessarily tired of it, but the NICU was a really emotionally exhausting time. And we needed to be focusing on us and the girls, and so we did those live videos every night instead. And so we never really stopped filming, but when we need a break, we take a break.
And you do kind of have this daunting task of, oh, we have people who want to see what we're doing. Hurry, pull out the camera. And so that kind of gets, sometimes you just want to live in the moment, but hey, you guys want to see us, we want to keep these memories, so it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times we don't really film just as we're going along, it's what we're doing that day, specific things that we film, which I think helps. I don't usually turn on the camera and not know what I'm doing.
Correct.
I have a purpose for turning on the camera.
There's always a purpose for turning on the camera.
Will you ever get a new paintbrush?
Who asked this question?
Annabella.
Naturally. Yes, I want a new paintbrush. I don't know where the other one went. It was here somewhere. Now it's gone. I want a paintbrush for Christmas. Yes, Annabella, I will get a new paintbrush eventually. All right, next question. You seem to have a very happy marriage. We do. How do you handle conflict in your relationship?
Communication.
Communicate.
We actually don't fight, really.
We don't. We can count on one hand the amount of solid arguments.
We can tell you specific fights because and it was all from the very beginning of our relationship.
We weren't even married.
We weren't communicating. And so we had to sit down and we had to discuss the fact that when we're feeling upset or when something's wrong, rather than I used to go to my sister and I'd text her about all the things that were making me upset, Derek has to be my go-to person. And vice versa, he had a friend that he would always go to. And so we had to be I'm your number one person. When you are having these feelings, when you're having problems, you have to come to me first.
You cannot confide in other people.
And
you have to talk it out with the person that you are with.
Yeah, and so we're also really good at bugging each other when we know the other person's mad. And being you have to tell me, you have to tell me, you have to tell me. So even when we're not open and just hey, I'm upset and I want to tell you about it, we're really good about being hey, you have to communicate with me because you're upset, which is usually how it happens.
We also know each other's body language and cues of when we can see that they're upset or we can tell that something's wrong. Sometimes I'm just tired and don't want to deal with life.
His angry and his tired are very similar, and so when he gets really tired, I kind of am
why are you mad?
Are you mad at me? But the key is just communication.
But we know those cues because we've communicated with each other.
Yeah, we've told each other. But also, I think that, for me at least, the longer we're married, the more something will upset me and I will take a step back and I will be is this worth having a fight over? And more often than not, it's not worth it. And so I say, I just have to let it go. I'm over it because it doesn't matter. In the long run, it doesn't matter. It's not worth getting in a fight with my husband over this. It upset me, move on. And that's something that I have learned to do because it's not worth it to me to fight with him.
It's not worth it.
We like being happy.
Yeah.
So we don't fight.
We do have a happy marriage. Next question.
Do you think you'll ever do a meet and greet?
Oh, the meet and greet. I'm very hesitant. It's scary. I don't know why. Mostly because we're actually very private, introverted people who decided to put their lives on the internet. Meeting, like talking, and I'm fine. I'm a social person when I have to be. She is not.
But I think if it was, hi little one. I think if it was like organized, that would be different. I think the thing that stresses me out is the idea of like, say, going to VidCon and having people just stop me unexpectedly and be like, oh, can I get your picture? You know, like that kind of stresses me out because I don't deal well with the unexpected.
It's also kind of terrifying that people out there know everything about our lives for the past year and we know nothing about them.
We know that you love us, but you are complete strangers. We are not strangers to you, but you are strangers to us. And so it is kind of unnerving to think that someone could come up to me and know my children's names and know where I live and know all this information about me. And I'm like, who are you? So that's kind of unnerving to me. But I think if it were like an organized thing where we said at this time, people who watch our YouTube videos will be coming to meet us, I could prepare myself enough that I wouldn't have a problem. It's spontaneous things that stress me out.
And it's not that we're like, oh, our followers freak us out. No, you are the people. We the people, right?
I'm scared of people that I see every day, so don't.
I don't know, it's just something we've never really, like, discussed.
I also think at this point, it's one of those things where you do meet and greets at, like, conventions that are usually over several days, and I'm not ready to leave my children overnight, but I'm also not ready to take them to something like that.
Yeah. Especially if this gets bigger, the possibility of us going to a convention like that and being stopped by hundreds of thousands of people wanting to take pictures with our children.
Well, that's the thing. If this does, I could see us going to conventions if this gets bigger, but I don't know that I'd be taking the kids.
I don't know about that.
That makes me nervous.
We all know how the world is today. It's nothing against you personally. It's just something to think about. All right, moving on. What is the hardest part about being parents of twins and the best part? Hardest part about being parents of twins, I think, is knowing just the balance of life. How to balance everything. Especially as a father. When there's one baby, it's easy for the father to just be like, okay, I have to go to work, I have to provide for my family, I'll come home and help where I can. But literally, I have to go to work, make the money, come back, and then also help with two babies.
He has to be a little bit more involved than if there were one baby once he gets home. Because, like, if it were one baby and the baby got hungry, it's fine for me to just pick up one baby and feed it. But when both babies are hungry, it's easier if he can pick up and feed a baby, which means that sometimes he has to put down lesson planning or grading to help me feed. And I think for me, that's the hardest part, is when I'm home alone, when they both need to be fed at the same time, or they both get fussy at the same time, and they both want, like, because sometimes they just want to be held, but when they both want to be held at the same time, it gets really overwhelming because they're getting big enough that they don't want to be held with their sister because it's too close and they want the room to squirm and they want mom to hold them up so they can bounce and all those things, which I can't do with both of them at the same time. And so for me, the hardest part is balancing the two children. Yeah. Because there are also days that I worry that I'm like, oh, Dallas has been really fussy today, so I've been holding her a lot. I don't want Ella to feel like she's not loved, which, like, I don't know if that's a thing right now to worry about, but I do. I worry that I pay more attention to one twin, and so I try really hard to balance between the two of them.
What's the best part of being twin parents?
I get two babies.
Guys, if there is a moment where we want a baby, we don't have to share one baby. We can each have one. It's the best.
Yeah, if we both want to hold a baby, we can. If we're out somewhere and a family member wants to hold a baby and I don't want to give mine up, he gives his up. It's the best.
I say, here you go. It is the best. All right, next question.
How do you keep married life exciting with two tiny humans?
Lots of tickle fights.
We literally have a tickle fight at least once a day.
Multiple times.
We'll be
Always
sitting on
before
the
we go to
couch,
bed.
Always. Always lying in bed, falling asleep, and someone will start tickling.
All of a sudden you feel a hand creeping towards your back and you're like, no!
And then
And
there's
then it
lots
just-
of no, stop, no, as we tickle. That's so silly, I know, but
That's what we do for excitement.
we tickle each other.
We
a
tickle
lot.
each other.
He's so ticklish. It's so easy.
She only has like 5 ticklish spots. My whole body's ticklish. It's not fair.
But we also try to keep family life exciting.
We do things. We go places.
We know that our marriage is important, but so is our family. And I think that our marriage thrives when we're focused on family.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't mind having a date night with the girls. We will go to restaurants with the girls all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They slide into booths perfectly in their car seats.
And that comes with the fact that they're the easiest children.
They'll just sit in their
They're
car seats
so
all day,
happy.
and they're just like,
If they get fussy, you prop up a bottle and they're just like, I'll eat too.
give them a binky or
Give 'em
you
a
show
binky.
them a toy and they're good, you know?
It's great.
So,
Wonderful. All right, next question. Are you planning or thinking about the twins' first birthday yet?
absolutely.
What are we going to do?
We're going to have a party. It might be princess themed.
Oh.
It might be fairy princess themed.
Oh.
They're each going to get their own cake every year. They get their own cake.
Okay.
They are their own people.
Okay.
That's as far as I've gotten. But yes, I've thought about it.
Fairy princess party. Okay. Next question.
What is the best way to send you something? Do you still check your P.O. box?
The answer is yes.
We're trying to do better because we definitely went several months after we moved here without checking the P.O. box.
Yeah.
But we are checking it again.
Now that like my first year is getting halfway done, I'm like less busy.
So yes, the best way to send us something is to the P.O. box. Because even if you want to send something that's bigger than an envelope, they just hold it for us.
Yeah. Derek and Liesel, P.O. Box 384, Tremont, Utah 84337. Link in the description.
USA.
Oh, Derek, do you ever see yourself teaching somewhere other than where you currently are? Like Salt Lake City or Bountiful or Provo, a larger city where Liesel will be able to explore? The answer to that is actually yes. My plan is actually not to stay at a high school. I'm going to get a master's degree and eventually a doctorate degree.
A nurserate?
Liesel thinks she's funny.
I'm so funny.
A doctorate degree and teach at a university because directing is my thing. I love directing, and it's not that I don't like teaching high school kids, but there's a lot more opportunity of directing at a university.
And you could teach specifically directing.
And you can teach specifically directing. So, that is my end plan. But there is this progression happening. So I'm teaching high school right now. And, you know, if there are open opportunities in the future of where I want to get a master's degree, then yes, we will move there.
And you know, even if it comes to the point that we're not ready for a master's, but we feel that we need to be somewhere else, you all should know this, we're very religious, and so we will pray about it, and if we feel like the Lord is guiding us somewhere else, then we will go.
Accurate.
So, Liesel, what would make your life easier as a twin? Oh no, I'm reading it backwards. What would make your life
Dyslexia.
as a twin mom easier? There we go. About 7 more arms, maybe?
14 more arms and the ability to not sleep.
I think that, like we said, our babies are really easy babies, so I don't really have too much of a terrible time in being a twin mom. I just think that sometimes a few more hours in the day or some extra arms would be nice.
Correct. Next question. What is your greatest wish in life?
For my children to be safe and happy and successful in their lives.
Successful in their lives. Yeah. To be able to provide for my family, for the needs that we have. Happiness and harmony. All right. Next question.
How would you feel about having another set of twins?
I'd love it.
I'm all about that.
Yes.
I would not be
especially if
mad.
it's twin boys.
I would not be mad. I've loved this.
We always say, if we have one baby, we're going to look at each other and we're going to say, this is the easiest. There's so much time.
Although by the time we have one baby, we'll have 2 crazy toddlers, so will there really be so much time?
What are these specific questions for me? Derek, who is your favorite student? I'm sure you have one. Everyone has one.
This was probably one of your students, but not one I know.
Oh my goodness. I do not have a favorite student, and that is the truth. I hate you all equally.
Rude.
I'm kidding. I don't have a favorite student. I really don't. I can't think of one that I'm like, oh, I like them better over the other. You all are great. And that's my answer.
Liesl, do you have any other twin mom, or do you have any twin mom friends? Now I know that this one came with a comment where the girl, she's a twin mom. And she said, I feel like only moms of multiples understand me.
Correct.
Which is true. I feel like moms of singletons, bless their hearts, try to be helpful, but sometimes I'm just like, just stop. Because they're trying to be helpful, but they just don't really know. And so they're kind of saying things. A lot of the times the advice I get from singleton moms is things that I'm like, yeah, I know.
We got that.
I've done that.
We know.
But a lot of times I also feel like sometimes people think that because I'm a first-time mom, on top of having twins, that I'm just like clueless and hopeless. But that's not even answering the question. The answer is no.
We don't know any. Well, I know.
I know people.
We know people.
My sister's best friend from high school had twins. And like we're friends on Facebook, and she added me to like a twin mom group on Facebook, and like there's a lady who lives around the corner from my mom who had twins that I know. Like there are people I know who have twins.
We are not actively
Derek
friends with
has some
anyone.
friends who have had twins, but like none of my close friends have had twins, and I have never actively sought to be closer friends with someone who has twins just for the sake of the fact that they have twins. Because first of all, I'm not really good at making friends to begin with. I only really make friends usually when we're like forced into a situation together. So like if I have to work with you or be in a show with you, that's about it. So like I know other people, but I do not have any really close friends. But I definitely get that, yeah, moms of multiples get you better than moms of singletons who are very well-meaning, but they just don't always understand.
Next question. Where did you get the girls' names?
Now this was one you were telling me about the other day. The girl who has twins whose names are Boston and Elliot.
Oh yeah.
And she calls Elliot Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was saying she thinks it's really funny and freaks her out just a little bit how close they are, because she has a city and we have a city, and she has an Ellie and we have an Ella. Which is
That's
kind
funny.
of fun. Yeah.
We got the name Dallas because I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Look it up, lds.org. I served my mission there. In Dallas, Texas.
And so he wanted to use Dallas. He actually told me when we were engaged that he didn't care if it was a boy or a girl that we used it for. But then he told me that he told his mom that once, and she thought of a little girl named Dallas and started to cry.
And so here we are. There's a little girl named Dallas.
Her middle name is Odette, which...
it's from the Swan Princess, Princess Odette. And that was one of my favorite movies growing up because the prince's name was Derek.
It was also my favorite movie growing up. I watched it daily and my siblings got really annoyed.
And I just want a little girl to say, Derek, you and I were meant to be.
Also, the man who played the voice of the Chamberlain takes credit
for our
us
relationship.
falling in love. So there's that. But so we each chose a name. So Derek chose Dallas Odette, and that's why he chose those.
Odette was it was totally a joke to begin with, but then we were like, I like it.
Because we went through so many middle names for her.
And she was like, Liesl was like, I want something classy, like a French name or something. So I looked up classic French girl names, and Odette was one of them. And I screamed it at her.
Jokingly. And then we were like, no wait, that's it.
Like, that's what it needs to be.
That's the one! And then Ella, I picked Ella because Cinderella is my favorite princess. Like I said, I want princess names for all my girls because they're gonna be princesses. And her middle name is Audrey because I love Audrey Hepburn.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Next question. Derek, if you weren't a teacher, what would your profession be? A professional polar bear wrangler. No, I don't know. I've never wanted to be anything. Well, that's a lie. In junior high, I wanted to build roller coasters.
He could have worked for Disney.
I could have been an Imagineer. Probably an engineer. I mean, it's still exciting to think about, but there's so much math involved and I'm so bad at it.
What is your favorite part about being a parent?
Having babies that love you.
I love my babies.
I miss them.
I love snuggling them. I love how happy they get to see me in the morning. I love playing with them. I love tickling them. As you can tell, we love tickling.
I love it.
Honestly, the best part about being a parent is just the kids.
The kids.
We get so excited to do new things with them, even though they won't remember them at this age.
They're the best.
Kids are great.
I highly recommend it to everyone. Next question. You've probably told your courtship story before, but can we hear it again? Reader's Digest version. What is Reader's Digest? Like short?
Yes.
Okay.
Condensed.
Here we go. What we're going to do is we're both going to say a sentence of our courtship story.
Okay, are you starting or am I starting?
I'm going to start.
Okay.
One time we went to a musical, Les Miserables.
It was performed in Payson and we went with our friends.
We were forced to sit together.
We had never met before.
And then we hung out quite often.
With those mutual friends, always.
And then we didn't hang out quite often.
And then we had to stage manage a show together.
And we were forced to be together daily for 3 months.
And we started to like each other.
She was really pretty. But she scared me.
And then our mutual friend told me he was thinking about asking me out.
And then we went on a date.
But first he asked me out with a dead face emoji.
I did. I said, what if Friday night is movie night, but it was also...
No, you said, I know that Friday night is fun night.
I know that Friday night is fun night, but what if it was also date night?
Scared face, dead face.
That's how I said, hey, we go out.
And I said to our friend, I think he's trying to ask me out.
And I was.
So I said, yes.
And then we continued dating, and we went on our second date 2 days later, and we bought a couch.
We went on our second date, I'm pretty sure it was the day after our first date.
And we bought our couch.
We bought this couch so we could sit on. And then we fell in love and got married at the end.
The end.
That's our condensed version.
Yep.
What do you do to stay madly in love with each other?
Tickle fights.
That's how you stay in love with me?
Yes, I've told you daily. Tickling is loving. Loving is tickling.
He does. He tells me all the time. I say, you're nice loving. And he says, this is loving. But I just want to cuddle without tickling.
Honestly, spending time apart makes me stay madly in love with you.
Because then he misses me.
Because then I miss you. That's the trick. It's so hard to go and leave every day for 8 hours. I just want to be home.
The thing is, I don't feel like there are specific things that we do. I just feel like we just are in love. And it just happens. And we have never had trouble being in love.
There's never been a time when I'm like, ew, I'm not in love with you today.
I think that it helps that we have had the conversation about love languages, so we know what each other's love languages are, so that like when he expresses love in a way that isn't necessarily the way I receive it, I can recognize it as he's trying to express love, and vice versa, as well as I can express love in a way that he receives it, even if that's not how I normally would express love.
And isn't that interesting that that goes all the way back to communication? Mm-hmm. What? Guys, just communicate with your significant other and everything will be okay. Next question. How did you maintain a good relationship during an incredibly stressful NICU time? If anything, it brought us closer together just from the nature of the situation.
I think that in situations like that, it really goes one of two ways. You either, the stress creates problems and you fight, or it brings you closer together. And I think for us, it brought us closer together.
Mostly because we understood that that was completely out of our control. There was nothing that we did or could have done differently to prevent that.
And we knew that it was going to happen. We knew that the twins would be in the NICU no matter what, because even if they had not come at 32 weeks, we were scheduled to be induced at 37 or at 36, and we were told to be prepared to have them in the NICU until their due date. From the very beginning, we knew that that was what was going to happen. There was just not really a chance for them to not go to the NICU unless by some miracle they had waited till 40 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't have, because they would have induced me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had preeclampsia and because of my high blood pressure and things like that. So we were prepared for it. We knew that there was nothing we could do about it.
And when it was hard, we cried. When it was easy, we laughed. And we
got ice cream every night.
And we got ice cream every night.
When something good happened, we got ice cream. When
we celebrated with ice cream.
happened, we got ice cream.
At Culver's, it's delicious.
Because it was right there by the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also really helped because nobody made me go back to work. Nobody made me go back to school. Derek worked, and I got to be at the NICU all day long. And I still had 2 weeks left of the semester, but my professors didn't make me come in, and I didn't have to go back to work. I had the babies and I was done with work. I was able to just be in the NICU, and that helped me because I was so grateful to him for being willing to continue working even though our babies were in the NICU. And when he came home, he didn't get to come home to the babies. We had to drive to see them, and he only got to see them for like an hour or two every day. And so it was able to help me in our relationship because I was so grateful that I was able to be there all day with them and that he was making that sacrifice for me.
I'm crying.
Honey!
That was nice. That was really hard. It was a hard time. Because I hated that job. Never become a postal worker with your babies in the NICU. Ugh. Next question.
Liesl, did you grow up baking and sewing? Did someone teach you, or are you self-taught? My mom put me in sewing classes when I was 8 years old. And she just wanted me to have the basic skills. So she said, I want you to take the classes until you have learned how to do buttonholes on a sewing machine, and then if you want, you can quit. She just wanted me to know all the basics up to that point. But I loved it, so I kept going. And I took a lot of classes when I was younger. I didn't take as many classes kind of through the teen years, but once I got to college and I started taking costuming classes, and I did patterning and all those sorts of things. So a lot of my sewing stuff comes from the fact that I started taking classes when I was very young. Baking is a little bit, I took a couple classes when I was younger. I helped my mom bake when I was younger, but a lot of my baking is just following recipes and just kind of mixing flavors. Like all of my cupcake stuff, that's all me. That's just something that I found a passion for, that I have kind of done on my own. But like my baking basics came from learning from my mom and taking classes.
Next question.
This is our last question.
What have you learned about vlogging over this past year? What have you learned about vlogging over this past year?
It's harder than you think.
Correct.
And that my life is really boring.
Yeah, I've learned that film what you can, but don't cause contention when it comes to pulling out the camera. I don't know.
I think that, yeah, it's harder than you think because you realize that day to day you're not doing that many interesting things.
I mean, you've seen our 3-minute videos where it's Liesl waking up in the day and then us going to bed at night.
Because sometimes
there's nothing that we
sometimes all I do is just watch the girls and maybe do a load of dishes, but no one cares about my dishes. Like, you know, sometimes being a mom and staying home with the babies, you're not, I mean, especially at this age, I'm not doing fun things with them as much as I will when they're older. We just roll around on the floor and sit in our stand-in toys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of brought to light the fact that, like, day-to-day life is not that exciting.
But I wouldn't stop doing it because in a year from now, or this upcoming year, we can go back and we can say, last year, this is what we did.
Well, and it's fun to be able to see how we've changed in a year.
Yeah.
And to see, I mean, so much has happened to us in just 1 year. and it's fun to be able to go back and see all the things that have happened.
Especially with like the pregnancy, how that is gonna all progress, because I've forgotten. I don't really remember like specific details about how that pregnancy progressed.
About each doctor's visit and things like that. And I think we've been raised, our church believes very strongly in like genealogy and record
knowing your family history.
And this is a way for us, because the thing is that like I remember having a lesson once in church when they were like, keeping a journal or a diary is great, but you have to remember that like people aren't going to go back and be like, oh, I want to learn about 1990, so I'm going to read this girl's diary, and if they read my journal, it's all, you know, oh my gosh, so-and-so is so cute, I love him so much, oh my gosh, and that tells no one anything. Like, day-to-day life is what historians are interested in. And so 100 years from now, if someone wants to know what day-to-day life was like, they can look at all these vlogs on YouTube and see just an average normal day, and that, you know, is something that my great-great-grandkids might be interested to know what life was like in 2017. And they'll be able to see it.
This is getting deep. Wow. I love you.
I love you.
You're the best.
You're the best.
Guys, thanks for joining us for this Q&A. It's probably going to be quite lengthy. So thank you for sticking through it and watching it and learning a little bit more about us.
And thanks for your questions.
Yes, thank you for all of your questions. We loved answering them. Thank you for joining us for this crazy year of daily filming.
We look forward to spending the next year with you.
What? That's crazy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
And as always,
have courage.
And be kind.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.